Okay, so today on Cooking with Kathy, I am going to be cooking steak. I'm also going to be cooking squash with it, and we have salad. But the star of the show, let's be real, is the steak. Now, it has been years since I've cooked steak, and since I've been dating Alex and we've gotten married and all of that kind of thing, that's usually the default man thing. He cooks the steaks. But the way things worked out this week, I'm cooking them today, and it's great because I'm going to do them nothing like he cooks them. Not that it's not good. Like his steaks, he does really well. I love them. They're great. But he normally salts them or does like a dry rub and all these other kinds of things. And I am just going to marinate them and cook them in the frying pan. I got the recipe from offline, and I will put the link to the recipe below. Granted, I modified the marinade because there were ingredients on it I didn't have. Some of the liquids for the marinade, so I used sort of flavor palette equivalents with regards to acidity or salt level and that kind of thing that would make a difference. And based on flavors that I know we like, but it's there. So I use this recipe more as guidelines than actual rules, if I can do a quote there. But, and of course nothing sponsored, but there you go. So let's get started. Okay, so here are the steaks. I'm sorry about the glare from the lights on the plastic wrap. They have been marinating for about an hour. When the timer goes off, I'm going to flip them over, and then they're going to marinate for another hour. I forgot to do the beginning, so I just want to let you know what I put in the marinade was a little bit of soy sauce, and I just kind of eyeballed it to coat the bottom. A tiny bit of salt, not much because soy sauce has plenty. Some Worcestershire sauce, Worcester, however you say it, that kind of sauce. Some coffee, because always it's delicious. A little bit of rosemary. I think I said black pepper. A little bit of brown sugar for some sweetness and to balance out with the acidity of the other things. And a little bit of onion flakes. Not a whole lot, just enough to be like hint of onion, not oh my goodness, all I taste is onion. And that's it, and we are about to flip them, and then they're back in the fridge for an hour. While these are going for the last hour in the marinade, what you need to do now is this is a good time to do any prep work and get it set, because once we start cooking the steak, it's going to go fast, so everything else needs to be ready. So it is almost time to start cooking. The marinade should be done, sorry I'm looking at the clock, in 15 minutes, but I went ahead and preset everything up so I can show you guys. Okay, so this is the setup. Okay, I've got my cutting board that I'm going to take them up on here, and the tongs, I would really like to use the good tongs, but I need them for that. The tongs with the pan ready to go, and the butter for the basting. Now, because we are doing this, the goal is to do it without oil. If you go to do this dairy-free when we get to the basting, my tip for you would be use some of the marinade juice to do that basting process with, because the oil, with it being that hot, could create a popping, burning situation, especially depending on how much moisture is in it. So, like right now, for example, I have country crock, and I don't want it to burn, so if you're going to go dairy-free, you're going to have plenty of marinade juice. So for that basting step, you could use that. I'm doing this because it's what it's called for in the recipe, but say my brother's dairy-free, if he was here, then I would just use the marinade juices, which I'm going to do something with them anyway. I'll show y'all in a little bit. But that is set up, ready to go, and it's supposed to be 2 tablespoons per piece of steak. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4 and just marked them all off, so that it'll be really easy for me to cut later, and it's setting out so that I can cut it easy and just get it in the pan when I need it. I have squash side set up over here, and I'm going to keep the squash simple because I really want steak to be the star, right? So I'm just going to do salt and pepper, and then I've got some of my other herbs. I've got oregano, thyme, basil, and I might not even use the thyme. I might just do oregano and basil. We'll see how the mood strikes me. Ready to go. I also have and these just stay out, balsamic vinegar and olive oil. I'll use the olive oil, not the balsamic vinegar, because there's enough of that kind of, I want to say, astringent flavor going on with steak. We don't need that on squash too. So they're just natural, fresh vibes from herb, salt, and pepper. That's it up, ready to go. I'm going to start preheating the pans. This one has to get really hot, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, turn my vent on. I'm sorry, it's going to be loud on the next recording, and turn this one on. Since this one has to be really hot when I turn it on, I'm going to turn it on to medium high. And the reason I'm only going to medium high is I know my stove. And look, my stove always cooks hot. So if something says cook it on high heat, medium high. And I just know that from experience and from using it. It gets hot all at once. So it's like, it's not hot, it's not hot, it's not hot. And I'll want to turn it up, and then it's like, whoa, now it's too hot, stuff is burning. And that's just experience. So know your equipment that you're using. Alright, this isn't the best angle, but we're going to make it happen. Hopefully this isn't too hot. I've got my steaks as close as they can be. And in 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, it smells like a steakhouse. I know there is smoke, but it smells so good. They're doing their thing. They are doing their thing. And I'm going to do my timer for 2 minutes. That way I don't forget that. And I know it didn't say to put a little bit of the juice in, but I am just because. And that's the thing, sometimes you got to be a little free when you're following directions, you know? And we can get the squash going. And I just realized I am running low on phone battery, so who knows at what point this will end. But we just got to let them be and avoid the temptation to lift them and flip them or play with them early. They've got to get that sear. And I'm noticing as I'm doing this, my steaks are fairly thin, so I might end up needing to flip them sooner, but we will see as we go. I'm going to mark this off with the butter. And I'm sure whatever menfolk in my life watch this, they're just going to be shaking their head like she has no idea what she's doing. But let's get the squash in. All the squash that fit are within, and it says it's time to flip. I know it doesn't say to do this, but like I said, I'm going to add some more juice to make my flippiness easier. Oh yeah. Oh, this one was on top of that one. That's probably not good. And flip, and I think mine might be done much sooner. Just because that already has so much browning. Here, I'll show you. But I don't know how well you can see. You see all that browning from just that little bit? Like I said, this thing goes hot. So I'll flip mine, but they might not be needing the full 2 minutes once I flip them. But that's okay. That is okay. So I'm going to set this here, and I'm going to go ahead and move my juice pan out the way. And like I said, I'm going to do something with that, you guys. I've added a little water to the squash. This is cooking real time. This isn't any cooking show. Okay. I got my 2 minutes, but I looked at the clock, so they've got about 1.5 minutes left. I'm adding my pepper, salt to the squash, and now I'm going to add my herbs. And when you add the herbs to your squash, I'm just going to crush them in my hand a little bit since these are dry. That way we can have some more of those aromatics happening than just sprinkling them on. And I'm all eyeballing this. I'm not measuring any of these salt, pepper, herbs on the squash, anything like that. It just is what it is. But a few minutes of prep work makes it go so much easier. And I know I didn't show it on film, but before I started this, guys, I washed my hands. Always wash your hands before you go to cook. And also, whenever you go to cook, I usually clean my cell phone multiple times a day. Since I'm filming with it, I clean it too. That way, we don't have to worry about that hygiene as an issue. So what I'm going to do now, it's time to add the butter. And I've got my 2 tablespoons for steak, and I'm just putting them on top. I know you can't see that, but they are on top. And lid is on, and timer for 2 minutes. And as you get where you do this kind of thing more and more, you won't have to worry about the timer so much. But since I'm following the recipe for you guys, there we have it. There we go. Those are the steaks. We're going to flip them and go from there. And when I come back from this 2 minutes, they should be done. If I'm being honest with you, these are probably done already. Like, I could eat it now, but I'm just going to go with you to show you the full process. And what I might do, because they are so done and I want some of that juice to evaporate, I'm going to go ahead and just adjust the lid. That way it can evaporate while they're still cooking. The reason you put the lid on it is so to trap in that heat so they continue to cook all the way through. And since at this point, these are pretty much done, you could check it with a meat thermometer. You could check it by just slicing into it, seeing if it's coloration you want, whatever. They're pretty much done. I'm just going to let them do their thing. I'm going to check squash, finish setting the table, set out salad stuff, and we're good to go. I'm going to pause this, and we're going to keep on going. Timer has gone off. That means steaks are done. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just take them, and look at that. Isn't that a beautiful piece of meat? And set them over here to rest. And here's the thing, I don't want to lose all this juicy goodness. Now what you could do, if you're good with just this butter, is when you serve it on the plate, drizzle a little on top, keep it extra moist and juicy and all those good things. What I'm going to do is the rest of the marinade, I'm actually going to put in the pan and reduce it. This isn't a step in the recipe. You don't have to do this. You could just pour that down the drain and use this little bit of butter marinade mixture on top of the steaks. But I'm going to reduce it and make it kind of like an au jus. That way I can have like a French dip kind of sandwich tomorrow. So this is a for me thing. You do you, and just because, well, it's not, you know? And it's already got all this good stuff in it. A little bit more is just going to be even better. I'm going to stop the camera for now because steaks are done. Here are the steaks. The lighting is horrible, but you can see they got a good sear on them, and now they're just going to rest for a bit. So steaks are plated. I'm going to give this one with a bit more char to my husband because he likes it a bit more done than I do. The reduction is going. I'm going to give it a taste, see if it needs to reduce anymore. And then I have these little containers I'm going to put it in to go beside the plates, and put squash on plates with steak, and we are set. And my husband's plate, I'm just going to stick in the microwave till he can get home because I know he won't be here until a little while, and then if he wants to microwave it he can, but I'm going to go ahead and eat. Did add just a little bit more brown sugar to this. I only had like a teaspoon left in the bag anyway, so I just went ahead and put it in just to give it that little bit of extra sweetness. It's got almost a teriyaki flavor now, so that is delicious. But you see how thick it is? That is what we're looking for. That is good reduction. and it's more textured like a syrup than just like a liquid now. It's going in the containers. Plates look delicious, and it is time to feast, my friends. Other thing, I'm going to take a little bit of this and just give a drizzle across the top of the steak. If we weren't trying to be healthier and eat the squash, I would also put like a drizzle on my potato, but this is what we're doing, so I'm just saying this is good. Okay guys, so let's eat the steak. Remember, I haven't cooked steak in a while, but we're going to try it. I've got my glass of water. Cleanse the palate for full enjoyment, all that good stuff. So, here goes. I hope I did okay. Ooh, it cuts really well. It's not quite medium rare. I think it is, but I got one of the ends with a little bit of fat on it. But so, hang on. Can you see? I'm learning how to do this. It's not quite makeup style, but this is steak. That's fantastic. I did a great job. That's all I'm going to say. You guys, seriously, need to just go cook steak. Do not feel like, ooh, it has to be cooked on the grill or it won't be good, or if I don't have a cast iron skillet, it won't be good. Metal bottom, heavy pan, good. Don't know about the Teflon kind of stuff, maybe, I don't know that. But don't feel like it's some super prestigious thing that you can't cook yourself. That is my point. You can cook steak. Now, there might be some trial, there might be some error, but you can do it. So I'm going to do one with a duck too. So that is my point. And as always, I put a recipe in the link. It's not exactly the recipe I went by, but it's where I got the cooking times from. So, you know, you do you. Definitely do this if you can with the marinade. That's what I was talking about. If you're dairy free, leave that butter out, baste it in the marinade juice sauce stuff, and then cook the rest down so you have this. And like I said, if I had a potato, oh my gosh, this would be so good. My point is that you can do this, and it comes out tender, it comes out moist. It's not like something super stressful to do. Now, it helped to have the prep work because once it was cooking, it was going by fast. But don't feel like it's not something you can do. Go out there, try it, do it. I mean, especially since we're not going to restaurants and stuff as much right now, you may as well be able to cook yourself a nice steak dinner. So that's my opinion. I'm going to eat my food before it gets cold because this is delicious. Remember to like, subscribe, share with friends. Literally cook this for friends. Yes. Also share this video. You can use my recipe. You can use the recipe in the link. I'm sure his is good too, or hers. I don't know who made it, but I'm sure it's good. Like, share, subscribe. Leave me a comment for what you want to see me cook next. Ring the bell so that you'll know when I'm cooking it. And so long from the little greenhouse. Enjoy your steak dinner.